Okay, and we are live. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us again this evening for Girl Talk Tuesday. I hope you're not going to miss our music opening. I think at this particular point, Lynette may be creating a special song
About to
for
break
us
out one.
women uniting. What did you say?
I'm about to break out with one. Just give me a second.
So again, thank you all for joining us this evening. And I'm gonna tell you right now, please like, comment, share, engage. I always tell everyone I might not be able to answer your questions or respond to your comments while we're broadcasting, but of course we love the fact that you are taking time out of your busy schedules to spend with us. So before I get too far ahead, I wanted to welcome our co-host Lynette King. How are you doing this evening?
I am wonderful, wonderful, great, great. Excited to be here this week.
Yeah, and then we lost Angela. So
I know. What is it?
hopefully the tremendous trio will be back together next week. But Angela had another engagement. So again, hopefully she'll be able to join us next week. But I think for the most part, we just want to make sure we're continuing on with our segment and offering information to help you decide to become an entrepreneur, hopefully as part of our Power of 100.
And don't you be trying it next week, okay? We gonna follow you wherever you go, and you can't. Ain't no getting out of it next week, okay? We're
Okay.
gonna follow you.
Okay, so it's my turn for vacation.
You're on vacation right now, by the looks of
Okay,
things.
yeah. I'm telling you, this has been one very interesting Tuesday. So I had to make sure I had my beach scene behind me, so I could just walk right out onto the water as all this starts to as we finish this particular segment. So, so Lynette, I know we chose. Or before I jump on the topic, just kind of want to remind everyone we've got a lot of virtual activity going on, road trips that we have been sharing information on. If there's any particular area that you would like for us to check out, just let us know. If it's a reasonable road trip, we will be happy to do it. I know Lynette and Tiff are quite interested to create another local getaway, and you know I love my hometown getaways with Shell, especially with the wandering around Wednesdays. And
Meandering Mondays.
yeah, okay, I like that. You know, we're coming up with a name for each day of the week. And then we have our wind down weekend. So I hope that you are, engaging with us and checking out the different postings and things that we have. This past weekend again, was able to hit another local winery, which was rather impressive with the way they had everything set up. So stick with us. We post a lot to our Facebook pages, and we're just very interested in engaging. So again, like, comment, share. Stick with us. We've got a lot to share with you. If I can get the words out tonight. Okay, so Lynette, our topic this evening, as you know, is stretching yourself. Okay, so I really want to start with ready, set, go. But we all tend to interpret the key factors of building a business in varying ways, but the main points really remain the same. The main focus is to customize the points according to what needs to be done in your business. And I totally sell that whole focus of virtual businesses, home-based businesses, and so on. So with that said, I want to definitely say, in my opinion, stretching yourself is another significant key to success when you decide to become an entrepreneur and as your business evolves. While you do believe, okay, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm so anxious to get to Lynette. Okay,
No,
so Lynette,
I'm
why do
okay.
so let me get us kind of set up here properly on this screen right now. Just bear with me for a second because I know I got some things I got to shift around very quickly. Okay. So I guess one of my first questions is, why do you believe this is another topic to highlight with regard to entrepreneurship? I know I have my points as well. But I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Okay. Well, I believe you have to stretch your mind first. And, because that's where it all starts. It all starts in your mind. No matter what you're doing, no matter what you're thinking, you have to stretch your mind. And if you can't get your mind together, you really can't get anything together. And I can tell you that wholeheartedly from experience, shall I say. And you know, you got to believe that you're a success, and you have to believe that what you're doing is successful. You have to believe it. You cannot let the little doubts come in and say anything about, oh, you know, I'm going to fail, because if you start to believe that, you ultimately you're going to fail. So there is where the stretch is, especially if you're coming from like a 9 to 5, or maybe someone that's not even maybe had a job, because you know, we take on, people can sign up to have their own business that maybe have never really had a true 9 to 5 or any other type of job. So when you begin to think differently, and in the ways that are gonna ideally cause you to grow, because you know, success is when you're stretching yourself, you know, and something new, and in developing yourself every day, and that stretch of making yourself become successful and believing that you're successful as an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur mindset is a whole different thing.
You know, and you hit it around the head, because with entrepreneurship, it's, you have to have that confidence in yourself, and you got to have yourself organized. And you know, and that's why I look at, you know, the goals and affirmations, because anyone can say, okay, I want to do this, or maybe I need to make these things happen. But if you really want to organize, structure yourself, and strategize, then you need to have those goals and affirmations, and you know, basically be able to write it down. So you can believe. So what are your goals going to be? Then what are the affirmations that you're going to have, that you're going to read off to yourself every morning and every night, so you can stay focused with those particular goals. And I think it definitely causes a surge with your growth, both personally and professionally.
Hmm.
When I think with any of us, when we review our life and focus on doing something new, you know, meeting new people, building new relationships, possibly moving away from that 9 to 5, and consider entrepreneurship. You know, I think the thing is that people have the plan A, the plan B, sometimes the C, D, E, and F. Uh, you know, I personally, you know, encourage people to start a turnkey business, because then a lot of your groundwork is already done for you, and proven concepts are in place, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel unnecessarily.
Right.
So it just makes sense. And you know, and again, when you have those goals and those affirmations that you are working towards, then it just makes it all real. You know, especially as you're accomplishing the goals. Whereas you go back and you look at an affirmation, you're like, okay, wait a minute. When you start checking them off, you will really surprise yourself. Like, and if you didn't have the confidence before, then hopefully you're now gaining that confidence to understand that you're bursting out of that box.
Yep.
You're bursting away from that typical plan.
Yep.
And so when you're stretching yourself to really get from point A to point B, you know, initially that challenge may be the one that's going to cause that self-doubt and things to that effect. But as you go from point A to point B, then on to B to C, like with anything else, you're climbing those steps, and those steps become a lot easier. But
And it's nothing like checking your boxes off, you know, to see where you've come, you know, because you look, you know, from now, and then you have your 3 month goals, your short term, your long term, and you, when you see yourself become successful, you're like, well, you know, it's really happening. As long as you put your mind, you stretch yourself out, and do what it is that you have to do. You know?
Right. So there's always that thing of bursting out of the box.
Yes.
And for me, bursting out of that box means entrepreneurship. So, you know, to move on, you know, of course, time management comes into place. So when you're looking at, you know, again, my first question to you is, what advice would you offer with regard to stretching yourself in the sense of time management?
Well, that can kind of get a little tricky, because life happens, you know, life happens. And it's so many times, no matter how polished your schedule is, I don't care what you've got set in stone, you're going to end up missing things.
Mhm.
You know, times will be pushed back altogether. It's like, so my advice as far as stretching yourself with time management, you have to learn the workarounds, you know.
Right.
You have to know that there are not many things that will, you know, be set in stone. We have to be able to coordinate our time with our clients or even our other business partners that can infringe on what we already may have scheduled as a daily task.
Right.
And one thing that does tend to mess up, I don't want to say mess up, but, infringe on our time is family. There's a lot of things. And so you have to learn, the workarounds and to stay on track. And so my stretch it goes from here to here. So my calendar may look like this, but I got a whole lot of little pencil in points, where you're penciling in, So time management, it can be a little difficult sometimes, especially as an entrepreneur, because you're doing nothing but spending a bunch of time on what it is that you do, and then trying to make time for appointments, for schedules, for lunches, for things that you have to do for your business. So.
And you always got to pivot where you got to pivot. Now, I wanted to make sure I didn't cut you off, because I swear it feels like you got a magic wand that you're.
I know, I should put it. I'm so used to writing when I'm.
You hit it right on the head. And I think in addition to your goals and affirmations, when you are really organizing yourself with regard to time management. Now, mind you, things are going to pop up. Life quakes are going to happen. There may be something a little bit lengthy, but we all know, you can put together a to-do list, and some days you'll get the entire to-do list done, and other days, you may check off one item because all the various interruptions that may come along. But it's just understanding how to manage those interruptions. And so, what I look at, or what I suggest, examine your current schedule to focus on what can be rearranged. Look at what you can do to work smarter and not harder. We all hear that phrase, but what does it really mean? And I think that's the thing. You different things you can do. You can bundle plans and explore options with apps. We always hear about the apps. Did you go to the app store?
Right.
To assist within the efficiencies. And for me, I will say it over and over and over again. The personal freedom and the time freedom, to me, it is just so priceless. So when I look at how I'm stretching myself, I always look at how I can build in the efficiencies. I'm always looking at how I can work smarter, not harder, how we can lock arms to assist each other. If I'm working on, a series of calls that I got to complete, how much can I get done with each one of those calls? Meaning that if I'm talking to a supplier, like Royal Caribbean, do I have 6 clients that I need to coordinate things for and take care of it all at that particular point? But I think even on the Planet Marketing side, just looking at, when we do our team meetings, our team Zoom calls and so on, focusing on, okay, we've got 30 minutes and we are going to talk business during those 30 minutes. Now, it's difficult sometimes because we are building a great relationship or friendship with each other. And of course, we want to know how everyone's doing, especially if someone's having a life quake. But we've got to stay focused on, maximizing that time together so we can maximize the time away as well to build our businesses. And so, for me, it's always a strong focus on, with everything that I'm doing, what else can I build into that to get all that done at one particular time before I move on to something else? And I'm seeing that as I'm focusing on that more and more, and managing my time in that sense, I feel like I'm really getting to the point where I'm working much smarter and not harder. I'm working much more efficiently. And I feel like I'm getting a lot done. I feel like I'm making a lot of progress from week to week with my business. And now being able to share that same information with business partners or sideline partners or directors, it's really taking businesses to a new level. And now as new business partners are signing on, it's, as though we don't have to reinvent the wheel. But I'll give you one prime example. The welcome orientations we used to do, it was pretty much winging it and taking an hour, possibly 2 hours to go through the entire orientation. Sometimes it was broken up because there's a lot of information. But what we ended up doing was creating a business plan so that people would be able to take that with them and have that to refer to, so that when it's information overload, they have an option to have that with them. But I think the thing is, when you really implement a serious time management plan, your personal freedom and time freedom becomes even more valuable, because now you can appreciate more of the time that you have for things that you want to be doing that is with family or with friends or whatever the situation may be.
Right. And it's all about, as far as, especially with your business partners, it's about sharing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Fair
helping each
enough.
other learn how to streamline
Mhm.
and get your time in certain places, and teach each other how to get things done easier,
Right.
quicker, easier.
And even when you decide to have perhaps what could be possibly a social, I think typically whenever we do anything, it starts off as our business meetings because it's our chance to come together as opposed to just virtually sometimes. But then once we're done with all of that, what we're talking about strategizing and people not having to reinvent the wheel, then we get a chance to socialize for a little bit. But I think that we're just at a point we got to stay focused on maximizing that time and effort so that we are propelling ourselves forward. So I encourage people, come talk with us, be part of our Power of 100. Again, if you are now watching, please comment. Share you can feel free to share the lives. If you're looking at it from YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe. We would love to hear from you all because, like I said, we pick our topics to build off of each week. But at the same point, we know that they tend to interlock or overlap in some sense. But at the same point, it's that time to drill it in as far as what needs to occur for you to be successful with business.
I
Okay.
look at it as building. They just build off of each other
Right.
continually, just build off of each other. The
Right.
topic builds off the next topic, and
Mhm. And I was kind of like playing around. And I did put this as part of the description. It's literally like a Venn diagram because each topic that we've done, well, it's been leaning in, staying in motion, your mindset. Last week, give up to go up. Now, this week is the stretching yourself. All of these topics are unique in its own way, but it has different parts of it that overlaps with other topics. Okay, so on to the next. So clearly, social media and direct networking are the most impactful forms of marketing. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. What standard operating plans have you implemented to ensure you are stretching yourself daily, weekly, and/or monthly?
standard operating plans, I would have to say, is trying to find new ways to develop on social media, different platforms. I mean, constantly, every day, trying to figure out different ways to access different platforms and involve, as many people as I can. And I have things on my calendar, on certain days. And like I said before, I pencil in a lot of stuff that I know that need to be seen too. And I find that's done pretty much daily because you're on a call or you're talking to someone and then suddenly you'll get a call and then boom, you need to add them, to your schedule. And but talking about the comfort zone, I find myself like approaching people is something that I also have to implement, with the real network marketing direct, talking to people is something that I had to get used to doing about my business, introducing them. And that's something that, I've never been one to just walk up to people and everybody say, oh, she's so, no, she's not, very, she's outgoing, but introverted at the same time, if that makes any sense,
Well, I understand because I think you and I will pretty much have the same description because people will tell me, oh, if I were to say I'm shy or I'm quiet, and people will give me the double take of what, and I'm
Right.
like, I mean, I have my moments. There are times where I just want to be to myself, but there's plenty of times where I want to be able to engage, and I guess that's when you see the extrovert side of it. But go ahead. I mean, it's just like when you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hear this all the time. But go ahead.
No, that's it. I mean, my comp, having to add into that is just like the other than trying to do things social media wise, it's that the talking, and the networking by talking, not by anything other than getting out there and talking to people about your product, about what it is that you do. And
And
that's
you're right. You hit it right on the head because ultimately, when I think of social media and the direct marketing or networking, it really does come down to leaving your comfort zones. And I've told this story plenty of times where, I resisted doing lives, but, you have to look at, if whether you were on social media or before social media became the thing. The traditional brick and mortar
Mm.
businesses, they had to find ways, which I felt was so much harm. Yeah, they had to pay for commercials, the ads and so on. And then as TV progressed, and you now had the systems where you could fast forward through commercials, and people, they were losing out on their ads. And now that social media, it rules the ad world or the marketing world. You've got to be able to, constantly push yourself to get away from your comfort zones. I love focusing on setting trends. Part of that comes from the career that I had and what was required of me as a administrator or manager or whatever the case may have been. Just stopping and watching what's happening, what's going to be the best course of action, what can we do to get ahead, like with any entrepreneur. And I think that y'all will hear me talk about Shark Tank from time to time, because if you really look at, that's one perfect opportunity that you get to see people stopping and really focusing on what do we still need in this world. And that's why, for me, when I went with the Planet Marketing and the teletravel, it made sense. We really don't have any competitors. And if there were some that were already in this space, we've left them in the dust because of the fact that, our president and CEO, Don Bradley, when he designed everything, he put a plan in place that just totally made sense. And, it's like everything right at your fingertips. So, that to me is like the perfect way to set types of trends. But then I challenge myself. Okay, what else can I do with that? What other options can I explore? What can I do to propel myself forward, to propel my team forward?
Outside of duplicating.
Exactly. And, all that comes down to leaving comfort zones, and I think when I look back at the beginning of this year, when we just started our team Zooms, how far we've come with that particular strategy alone. And now, we started our Epic Women Uniting back in June. We're in September. And I look at how far we've come, even with technical difficulties.
We are. Let me check that off on the list.
And I will tell you now, where I was the woman who drummed the beat about no lies, no lies, no lies. I'm like, lies, lies, lies. It's not as intimidating as it initially felt. I see that the messaging is getting out far and beyond where I thought that I had, that I may have been able to reach directly. So, the thing is that, if you're going to really build a business and you're really going to be serious about it, then you do need to really focus on getting away from those comfort zones. You're going to hear us talk about that quite a bit more, because that is probably one of the number one issues that stands in the way of people.
Of your own way.
Exactly. So yeah, I look at daily. I look at, what can I do each day to build my business, and it has to be something different, for obvious reasons, because I get bored easily. So I've got to do different things each day. On a weekly basis, what is it that I'm trying to attempt or attempt on a weekly basis to accomplish? And then, of course, on my monthly basis, the quarterly basis. Now that I'm at a gold builder status, my focus is on getting my entire team to that status. And then we continue focusing on, okay, now get everyone to the director status and so on.
Congratulations. Yes.
Oh, thank you. I have done it without you all. And believe me, I want you all right by my side every step of the way. So that's where the focus is now, making all that happen. But that's all part of building relationships and understanding that networking is crucial, and that, you work smarter, not harder, but you definitely work to bring other people up with you. Yes. And that's the main thing, always paying it forward. So
yes, pulling somebody else along with you, sharing and pulling them along.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So what would you list as the top 3 concentrations to fully focus on stretching yourself?
Number 1 is clear your mind as far as business goes, meaning focus on the business, because at times it can be pretty hard, to just focus on the business. And you have to know how to bring yourself back around. when you tend to go off course and go off track. It's like you have to know how to bring yourself back around and find out what's important. Have your affirmations. Have those things in front of you that you know that you're going to see that help you bring yourself back around. You want to always grow. You always want to learn. You want to read. YouTube has great um, thing series, or mentors, leaders that are on there that
Right.
teach you a lot of things. So you want to constantly be trying to learn so you can help propel yourself as well, because you're never too old to learn. And it can only do anything but make you grow. you know Give you knowledge is the key. you know and and you got to find ways to keep balance, because once you become unbalanced, everything is off balance. And that kind of actually brings me almost back to clear your mind. But you have to find a good balance on your work, your life, your home life. And that can sometimes be kind of hard. um, but you can have the ability to do these things, to get you to the top. And if you have the ability to do all of these things to get you to the top, your character is what will keep you there. So you got to have a good character.
No, and I think that's great, because I think that, I pretty much am going to, mimic what you're saying. As far as I'm concerned, the top three are the goals and affirmations, the time management, the comfort zones. Of course, mindset is always going to factor in, but you do have to have that balance. And the balance needs to include your wellness. You can have those goals, you can have aggressive goals. You have your affirmations. You got to commit to saying those affirmations to yourself every morning and every night. Speak it into existence, manifest it. Okay.
Yes.
We talked about the time management. That in itself, if you don't have a structured plan, you'll be running in circles. You will tire yourself out because you're not structuring it. And reach out. I mean, just like with my team, those are things that we tend to focus on of, what training opportunities are out there. I don't have them, I give them the information. I give you all the information, but I leave it up to you all to work it within your schedules, because all of us are juggling quite a bit. But, I think all of us are fully aware of the fact that there's training available pretty much sometimes 5-6 days a week. And then definitely morning motivation calls Monday through Friday. So you're coordinating things so you can learn and grow without burning yourself out.
Right.
Because again, at certain times you got to stop, you got to take that break. The plus for us is that our business is about taking breaks and vacation.
Yes.
So it's kind of like twofold. Okay, that works. Darn, I got to build in the vacation today. Darn, we got to plan a road trip this week.
Yes, I think we have a lunch date that's a road trip that we have to be taking very soon.
Right. And darn, we've got to do a wind down weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's part of that balance, and that's part of working smarter, not harder. Okay. And then we've talked about comfort zones and challenging yourself to set trends and step away from the norms, and basically dig deep to stand out. It's not, honestly, I would say it's not difficult, but you got to remain focused on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this up with the last two questions. So last week's segment highlighted the focus on give up to go up. And I always ask this, what parallels can you draw between give up to go up and stretching yourself?
Well, can I have an excuse because I wasn't here last week, teacher? The dog ate my homework.
I believe you were watching. Good try, though. Good try.
Well, let's see. As an entrepreneur, you have to give up many things. There's a lot of things that you have to give up. And time, I think, is like one of the main things you have to give up is time. May it be time with your family or time with whatever. You have to give up a lot of time because you got to concentrate. You got to do your business. You got to concentrate and make your business grow. And if you're not spending time on that, then it's not going to grow because you spend your time watching Netflix or something, And so I think, that's something you got to have it, you got to have it etched into your mind, and if you don't etch that into your mind, for me anyway, it won't stretch. You got to be able to give up that time. You got to be able to use your time wisely, efficiently, to do what it is that you need to do in order to grow.
And you hit on the head, because basically I think what the two overlap with is definitely sacrificing. I would say for me, Sunday afternoons or the weekends, but definitely Sunday afternoons, because a lot of people I know are totally into football. I'm not. And so I look at that, that's the perfect time for me to get out to the wineries, because chances are there's a lot of people stuck at home watching football. And as far as I'm concerned,
thank you very much.
But I'm out learning about wineries. I'm out networking. I'm out, getting a chance to see more of what's in the local area. So again, it's like that multitasking, but darn, I'm sacrificing those Sunday afternoons, Sunday evenings with football. Such a sacrifice. But in certain ways, one and the same with sacrificing, but to add in that stretch, so stretching even more, and it just aids significantly in rising to new levels. So it works.
Even, we used to have those Sunday dinners, everybody, come over, let's, a lot of that went out the window for me too,
Yeah.
I'm busy. You gonna come, you cook and bring me a plate if that's what you want to do, because I'm generally probably going to be sitting right here where I'm at, doing something. So.
Well, the funny thing is that like family time means everything to me. But at the same point, my family, especially my sons, and my granddaughters, they knew that if we were out to dinner or we were out doing something specific, and the conversation happened to come over travel, whether it was with them or someone overheard us from another table, or the waiter, the owner of the restaurant, they would even help conversations get started to build my business. So they kind of got in the sense too of like, okay, I'm very easily or very interested in giving up time to be out with family. But if there's some business opportunities, y'all need to make sure you're helping to jump on them.
Right.
So, I love my you versus you. What impact does that have on stretching yourself?
Well, my you versus you, or my me versus me, me wants to sit and watch HGTV, and me wants to go out to dinner. Me wants to go to happy hour. Me wants to go have cocktails and, all of those types of things. But, me also wants to be successful,
right.
And it's successful in what I do. And so I have to put those things off and do the things that seem like they're boring and they're not fun, to people. But, I'm very passionate about what it is that I do. Right. And so it's fun. I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything when I'm sitting here and I'm working, because I have a passion for my work. And so the sacrificing the other me to working, this sounds really weird when I'm trying to say it out loud, so that I sacrifice the other me, working and stretching the business me out to do those things, and it's an absolute win-win situation, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And that was kind of crazy, trying to put me in the me instead of the you and try to say me.
But it also comes down to getting those other voices out of your head, the naysayers, the ones that not really that they're trying to distract you, but they just maybe want to spend time with you. But it really comes down to one, having confidence in yourself, what you're trying to do, your commitment, setting, again, you're going to hear me say this over, setting affirmations, because affirmations really do work. And if anyone remembers when I was talking about the book Think and Grow Rich, that is probably why, if not the first, but it was definitely at the very top of what you need to do from day to day, is setting those affirmations, having it readily in front of you, and making sure you're speaking to it every day and every night, every morning and every night. We always say, get out of your own way, get out of your own head. But again, get others out of your head. If they're not there to really support and help you move forward, then at that particular point, you've got to decide what role you want to continue to have in your life. So, I'm always with running with theories and sometimes virtual visuals with how much, and let me say virtual visuals, but one that I want to kind of put out there, I was going to start with, okay, everyone close your eyes. But because we're virtual, I don't close my eyes or not.
Don't tell me that right now, because you be like, Lynette.
But honestly, when you're talking about you versus you've got to kind of stop and put that visual in place and think about, how much sand can you pour into a small box? Okay. Eventually that sand is going to overflow. So what are you going to do with it? And that's all part of what's happening with your business. As you continue your commitment, not quitting, getting out of your comfort zones and moving forward and building a much stronger presence, then at that particular point, you are going to overflow, which is your success model. But you've got to be able to understand that concept, that theory, and be able to make that happen. So I always try to go with that whole point of that you got a box and everything you're doing, you're pouring sand into that box. Eventually it's going to overflow because that's when you've hit your success model. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Madam Gold.
I'm going to be saying the same thing to you. I'm going to be fixing your crown one day. There you go.
Right now I just got the wand.
Right. You got part of the setup on the uniform. I mean, all in all, as we mentioned in the past, we are in the midst of a Power of 100. So we're looking for more business partners. Come be part of the travel industry. Right now we've got a lot going on, and we have pivoted to domestic activity, but international activity has picked up, and it's going to continue to pick up. And so, with us specializing in group travel, we are really excited about 2021. And we are very eager to share this with others who are now looking for a plan A, a plan B to replace the plan A. And, just before we came online, we saw that now Disney is laying off 28,000 employees. Now, mind you, chances are they're going to be going back to work as everything starts to open back up. But this is just more support for start your own business. I'm sure anyone who's working with Disney never thought that their jobs wouldn't be secure with as busy as those places are. And I never want to scare anyone. The security just isn't there anymore. Take control over your own fate and get some plans in place and make some things happen. So
in a business that's recession proof.
Exactly.
I don't care what anybody says. We are booking for 2020, end of 2020, 2021, and 20. People are booking, and they're catching great rates. This is the whole thing that they got to realize. People are traveling and they're getting so many deals and specials on the cruises and this, that it all really makes sense no matter how you look at it. As a traveler, as a business partner, it just really makes sense. And I'm glad to be a part.
And I mean, I've got several trips coming up. So I've totally fallen in love with road trips. I mean, I've always enjoyed road trips. But now I'm like, okay, I can go here, I can go there. I've got several coming up before the end of the year, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, I mean, and a couple of them do include flights, and I got some excellent rates.
Yeah. And we're gonna be looking for your lives while you're on the plane. And so wait until the flight attendant walks up and says, "Ma'am, you need to turn off your phone." Okay, so we have got to wrap up. But again, if you're connected with me, if you're connected with Lynette, if you're connected with Angela, who's not with us this week, but she really misses a segment. I think this may be her first time she's ever missed one. Yes, and we miss her. Yes, we do.
The background commenting.
All right.
So I mean, reach out to one of us and become join our team. You would love everybody on the team. We have a great time together. So reach out to us. We can get you some information. Takes you 10 to 15 minutes to look it over, and then we can have any other discussions to answer any questions. But it is a turnkey. You could be up and going in a matter of minutes.
That's right.
So, okay, and that's my shameless plug as I go to close out for this week. Okay, Lynette, let's get our quotes done.
All right.
You want to start?
Well, sure. Mine would be, you got to have a solid understanding of the gift that we have of network marketing, being able to be an entrepreneur without a huge investment, and being able to expand outside of your geography. And that's Eric Worre. Expand, stretch. I thought that just went just perfect.
It works for me. I see how it ties in.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did kind of um, end up with only 2 this week because I think I was up to 3 and 4 at one point.
Right.
But I'm stretching myself. Okay. So the first one is don't be afraid of your power, and that's by Panache Desai. And then the other one I have is by a very well-known speaker and author, Les Brown. Align with yourself with people that you can learn from, people who want more out of life, people who are searching, or people who are stretching and searching and seeking some high. Lord, I messed that up, and I need to do this properly for Les.
Wait.
Okay, Les, here we go. Take 2, right? We're live, so I can't shut it down for a blooper. Okay. So align with yourself with people that you can learn from, people who want more out of life, people who are stretching and searching and seeking some higher ground in life. Okay, Les, I did that for you.
Very good, very good. And those are great ones, because women especially, got to remember about power and being empowered, first of all. And then with Les Brown, you always want to learn. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You always want to be around those that can teach you something, you can learn from. So excellent.
Okay, so if you haven't had a chance, again, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Even though we may be closing out this live, you will still have access to it. Please watch it in its entirety and let us know what other type of topics are you looking for. Reach out to us and be part of this Power of 100. We're moving and shaking, and we're going to make some things happen. Okay. So have a great Tuesday evening. Thank you for tuning in.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.